Hello everybody and happy spring. I have with me three different kinds of daffodils, and I'm just going to take a big sniff. Oh my gosh, this one smells like lemon. This one just smells like spring. Oh my goodness. I'm not sure what this one smells like, but they all have a distinct smell. And I'd just like to invite us into the enjoyment of spring. I know it's only March 1st, but we know that spring is coming. And if you're here in Alabama, today is kind of that blustery, it is coming weather. So I don't know about you, I hope this is true. This is true for me. I have spring fever. And if you have it too, here are some symptoms. This renewed energy, which is wonderful. This desire to go outside. This desire to embrace Mother Earth and get our fingers in there and till the soil and get ready to plant things. And that is so natural because spring, the direction of spring is the east. And if we think about that, every morning, it's a chance for rebirth. The sun rises again, and we know that the sun is just staying where it is. It's really the earth that's turning, but it's a chance for us to renew. And I think a beautiful thing about spring is that we can honor the darkness of the winter. We needed that time. We needed that time to go inside, to put on our sweaters, to build fires, to be cold, to embrace the darkness. And the darkness is, of course, a complement to the light. And the days are getting longer, and soon we'll spring ahead with daylight savings time coming back. And so the days will be longer and the nights will be shorter. So also coming up is the Hindu holiday of Holi, H-O-L-I. And it's often called the Festival of Colors. And people gather and they sprinkle paint flecks of beautiful colors on each other, and it's again to celebrate this wonderful time of spring. So just a couple of things. If maybe our symptoms are not renewed energy or we don't want to dig in the earth, just some things to invite spring into our hearts. So I'm going to pick up one of these flowers again. I hope that you have flowers near you. Just to take maybe 5 minutes and, like the artist Georgia O'Keeffe said to us, really look at a flower. Look at the veins in each petal. How many petals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The symmetry of that. And then this beautiful circle. And then, of course, how the stamen, it's going to come out, and then the seeds are going to form, and hopefully more flowers will come. Although this daffodil comes from a bulb. But that if we can just really give ourselves permission to take the time to celebrate this renewal in the earth. The other thing that I would suggest, another sense besides just our eyes and maybe touching the flower too, are the smells. Now, honestly, some of the smells of spring are kind of bad in Alabama, and I used to live in New York, and this was kind of bad there too. The flowering pear trees, they don't smell that good, but they don't last very long. But something that does smell so good are tea olives. And if you ever are on a walk or maybe on a bike ride and you just get a little whiff of orange, that's a tea olive. And they grow really well in sun or shade. They do need some sun here in Alabama. So just noticing the smells. The other thing, I hope this is true for you, the birds. The birds are so busy right now. They're building their nests, they're getting ready to lay their eggs, and they are flying all over the place and chattering and letting us know spring is here. So there's a wonderful app out of Cornell University that we can identify birds with. I apologize, I can't remember the name of the app right now. But it also, if we hear a bird's song, we can record that song and it will tell us what bird sings that song. So I know a lot of us during the pandemic, when we were in lockdown, became bird nerds and looked at birds and maybe learned their songs. So spring is another opportunity to do that. Spring, I think, also is the time to just embrace light. Maybe that can be sitting outside or looking outside or just noticing the days are getting longer and embracing that. So we have things we can do with our eyes. We have things that we can do with our ears. We can listen to the birds, maybe even with our eyes closed, and see if we can identify who's singing. And of course, beware the mockingbird, because mockingbirds do not have their own song. They mock other birds. And I have a little funny story about a mockingbird. Once I lived in New Hampshire and I was on a walk and I heard what sounded like an alarm clock going honk, honk, honk. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is such a loud alarm clock, because I wasn't really close to somebody's house, and I realized it was a mockingbird that was mocking the sound of an alarm clock. So they can be kind of tricky. They might sound like a robin or a blue jay or cardinal. So just maybe open your eyes and identify what kind of bird that is. So we can listen to the bird song. I'd love to think that we could actually hear flowers blooming. I personally have not been able to do that, but it seems like sometimes one day the flower is not there and then the next day it's there. And I wonder, did it make a sound as it came out of the earth? Did that tulip that finally opened up make a sound of rejoicing when it opened? I don't know, but I ask you to investigate that so we can listen. Of course, we can look. Another thing that's happening here in Alabama are the red buds are in bloom. And they're so funny that they're named that, because they're not red. They're that beautiful purple fuchsia color. And they don't last very long. So if you see one, embrace it, because in a couple of weeks, they'll be full of those beautiful heart-shaped leaves. So we can listen, we can look, we can smell. Flowers that I thought didn't smell do, like these daffodils. And you know who else has a lovely smell? Pansies. So if you planted icicle pansies and they made it through that hard frost we had, take a smell, and they all smell a little bit different. The purple ones smell different from the white ones and the yellow ones and the ones with the faces. So we can look, we can listen, we can smell. There are flowers that we can taste, nasturtiums. I've tasted them. Honestly, that's not my favorite, although it must be good for us because it just comes straight out of the earth and it's just these beautiful colors. And if you were a gardener, you probably know this, it's time to start planting things like snap peas, and the cold weather crops are kind of wrapping up, and it's time for beans and peas and things like that to go into the ground. Also, just the feel. If you're a barefoot person, there are all kinds of studies that are showing us how wonderful it is to connect with the earth through our bare feet. So if there's a place where you can do that with soft grass or maybe moss, just stand on the earth and embrace all the power that is within. So we at Forge are so happy that spring is coming. We hope you are too. We look forward to seeing you maybe at our wreath making workshop next week, where you will have all the supplies, including fresh flowers, which are coming from the master gardeners of the area, and anything else spring related. Forge is the place to be. So we look forward to being with you, and happy, happy spring. One more sniff.